Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Kody Kinsey. I am a security researcher at Varonis, and this is Michael, a junior security researcher and generally suspicious individual.
I don't know about the last half, but okay.
Well, I don't know, Michael.
Better than
I've
usual.
seen some very suspicious behavior from you lately. So what we're going to be doing on this episode is investigating Michael's secrets.
Sounds mischievous.
So I've noticed Michael has been sneaking around a lot lately. And in fact, I'm pretty suspicious that he might be going out and affiliating with some other organization other than my own. So like any good boss, I'm going to conduct electronic espionage on Michael on live TV to make sure that he's not doing anything bad. So this is going to be great. And hopefully, we can uncover something really substantial.
Yes.
Michael, do you have anything you want to confess, like right off the bat?
No. Do you have anything you would like to confess, sir?
Nice try, Michael. Answering a question with a question. I think we've heard that one before. All right, so what are we going to use to interrogate Michael today? Well, looking around the room, I don't see anything big enough to beat him with. So instead, we're going to be using this. Michael, do you know what this does to a person when they're exposed to it?
It reveals all our electronic secrets.
Michael, this is a probe.
What?
Yeah. Just kidding. It's a Wi-Fi probe. So what we're going to be doing today is using the Andromeda Deauther, which is just a very, very fancy D1 Mini. And we're going to be probing Michael's phone to find out where he's been. And of course, this works against pretty much any phone that uses Wi-Fi. This is broadly applicable. And some of the tactics we're using today are good ways of being able to find out if someone is telling the truth about whether or not they've been somewhere. Now, of course, we're using Wi-Fi. So this all depends on Wi-Fi. If someone hasn't joined the Wi-Fi of the place that we suspect they've been to, then this isn't very effective. So let's say that I'm suspicious that Michael's been actually just out drinking at strip clubs instead of anything more nefarious. Well, unless he's connecting to the Hooters Wi-Fi network, then I'm probably not going to catch him. But if he is, then I will. So this is a pretty good attack against organizations or anybody who might be involved in a place that has a very easy to find Wi-Fi network name. Because that means if I can figure out that his phone has joined this network before, then, well, I can do a lot of things. But for one, I can identify maybe places he's been in the past. And we're going to be taking advantage of two different vulnerabilities today. One of them is using the preferred network list of the phone to pull information out. And Michael, do you know what a preferred network list is?
Yeah, that's like the list of all the networks you've attached to before.
Right, so you might not think that this is a thing, but inside your phone, there is a list of every single Wi-Fi network, whether it has a password or not, that you have connected to before. And this is a very limited list. There is not much information. It basically might save whether or not the Wi-Fi network was open or required a password, and then it has the name of the network and a password for the network, and that is all. It doesn't know the MAC address of the network. It doesn't know where the network was. So you could be at the top of Mount Everest, and provided there's a network that says Google Starbucks, your phone will dig through that list, see it's a trusted network, and automatically connect to it. So that's important because that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be creating fake networks and then trying to get Michael's phone to wake up and see those networks and try to connect to them, which lets us know he's connected to them in the past.
Cool.
Now, so why is it a terrible idea to have a really big, long preferred network list, Michael?
Because then someone could track down where you've been based on, like, if you were to say, for instance, spoof all of those SSIDs or a vast list of like common ones, then you could essentially see where I've been based on those.
So the other attack we're going to be doing today is what happens when you connect to a hidden network. Now, I believe that after tricking Michael on a previous episode, he is well aware of what happens when you connect to a hidden network. Michael, what is that?
So when you connect to a hidden network, your phone is constantly yelling into the ether that, hey, I'm looking for this network. Are you around here?
Yep. So that means that your phone is now a beacon. It is constantly sending out packets that say the name of the network it's trying to connect to. And that can either be like a relatively minor inconvenience of just having your phone constantly broadcasting something that makes it identifiable, or potentially it could allow someone to take over the data connection of your phone at a moment's notice. Now, this is also a way that you might be able to identify rogue devices around you, or potentially even identify networks your printer or other IoT devices have connected to in the past and will connect to anytime they see that network in the future. Now, this is kind of forgotten, but I constantly see things like printers on Wi-Fi that are calling out for networks that no longer exist. And if any of these networks have a either really easy password or no password at all, it's very simple to get a IoT device like a printer to connect to one of these networks once I know what networks it's calling out for and trying to connect to. So this is a version of what's called the Karma attack. Do you know what that is?
I remember the name. I don't remember what that one specifically does.
So the Karma attack basically goes like this. There's let's say it's your phone, Michael, that's calling out for some secret network that we're not supposed to know about. Somewhere you've been that you wouldn't want anyone to know. But unfortunately, your phone is sending out beacons saying, hey, is this network nearby? Now, me, the attacker, and also on the moral high ground.
Oh, is that when you just pretend to be that access point?
Yes, reads the network name and just creates a fake network that is that network name. And your device, now excited by the presence of this familiar network, will attempt to connect.
Nice.
So,
and do you even need like the password in that case?
Only if the network requires a password. So yes, if you had connected to a network that in the past required a password, then unfortunately I would need a password in order to get you to connect and start manipulating your traffic. But I could still get you to attempt to connect. I could tie up your connection for a bit, and there is a possibility I could use your attempt to connect to actually break the password of that network you'd connected to in the past. So it wouldn't be something I could do quickly, though.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to use.
This thing.
Yep, this thing right here.
Nice.
So how is this different from this, Michael? What obvious difference do you see on this?
External antenna.
Yes.
That's really nice.
So
and a USB connector.
Yeah, so the Deauther Andromeda has two things that make it notably better, in my opinion, than the regular Wi-Fi Deauther on just a D1 Mini. So this is a D1 Mini. We have them on our Hacker Interchange store. You can find it on hack.gay. Look at store. And this is just like a very basic way of getting started with the Wi-Fi Deauther. You can find them for relatively cheap on Amazon, but they're a great way to get started with this. But they have a built-in Wi-Fi antenna that's very, very small. It's just like this little one right here. Now, this one, the Andromeda, is a custom board made by Spacehoon, our very good friend who's responsible for this chicken right here and that chicken over there. Just chickens everywhere.
I don't think my chicken's even visible.
Oh, yeah, no, right dead center. There you go. Yeah, so our friend Spacehoon and I collaborated on making this board with his friend Brix. And this is the result. It has the ability to put any antenna on it. And I can put an omnidirectional antenna with a good amount of gain on like this just to be able to get a lot more signal strength. Or I can put a directional antenna, like a panel antenna, and use that to point this in a single direction and get really reliable long range, which is super cool.
Or even direction finding.
Yes. So we're also working on being able to do more easy direction finding. For now, you could basically point this in 3 directions, run a scan, and then be like, oh, it's coming from this way, the strongest, and determine where a network actually is, which is really cool.
Yeah, the way I like to do that is just a Yagi antenna, and then you just pull it up on your computer, and you're like, okay, signal stronger, hot, play hot and cold.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we just had a D1 Mini, we would need to go into Arduino, flash it, and do a bunch of other stuff to get started. But because we're using our friend's really cool board, then we can just get one of these, plug it in, and run a single command to get this up and running. So I've already installed the Hunitor. It is written in Rust by our friend James, aka Howdy Burgers. And James has made this really easy and cross-platform for anybody who wants to plug this in and get started. And the previous version of the Wi-Fi Deauther had a web interface, which was really handy, but it was sharing the Wi-Fi antenna. So if you are using the Wi-Fi antenna to communicate with the board, and you're also trying to do like scanning and deauthing and all this fancy stuff, eventually you just are limited in what you can do. Exactly. You can't really like serve up an interface and attack stuff and get information back all at the same time. So this design is really great because it communicates over serial, but it does so with a really easy to use program that's cross-platform. So that means you can use 100% of the antenna for Wi-Fi hacking stuff. And that to me is a really big improvement. And there's also some improvements with like scripting and stuff like that. So I've actually been a little bit rusty on this. So we're going to have to go back through this, and this will be a little bit of a relearning experience.
Rusty on Rust?
Yeah, I'm a little bit rusty on the Hunitor and this interface. So we're going to be doing basically just an investigation of Michael. And we're also going to be using a website called wiggle.net.
Oh.
No. So wiggle.net is a way that we can take the information we learn from Michael's phone and start to find out, where was this Wi-Fi network seen? Where could this person have connected? Now, there's going to be some stuff like FBI stakeout van that, like, if you search for that, you're going to find so many Wi-Fi networks of people who think this is funny all over the world that it's not going to give us much information. But if we manage to get a Wi-Fi network that has like high entropy, like it's a very specific Wi-Fi network name, we might only get a couple hits or we might get a single result. And that's what we're looking to do here. We're looking to track Michael to a single location so we can say definitively Michael's phone has been here. Now, there is a little bit of room for error here. We're working off of an open source project. So, for example, this network could exist somewhere and it just hasn't been war driven by someone. Yeah. But wiggle.net has a really, really good database. And we're going to, in this case, hope to achieve victory on finding out where Michael's been.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna track Michael's suspicious movements using this Wi-Fi technique. So if you want to pick this up, you can also, if we can switch to my screen, you can pick this up on Spacehoon's store in the European Union. I believe that he is not shipping to the United States. So if you're in the EU, then this is something you can get here. If you are not in the EU, then as I mentioned, you can go to hackerinterchange.com in order to be able to buy this in the United States. I would love it if also there was a link on this website, but I'm sure there is somewhere. It's just hard to see. But anyway, you can also see that there is a class available that I think it either comes with or you get a coupon when you buy this from Spacehoon Store. So this teaches you how to use it, and we're going to go over the advanced stuff that we're only going to scratch the surface on today. So anyway, this thing is really cool. I'm very, very just amazed that Stefan managed to make it happen so quickly. I remember like standing in a field when I was like, hey, Stefan, what if we could add a directional or huge omnidirectional antenna to the Deauther? And he was just like, I'll see what I can do. So this is the result of that. And if you guys want to do some wacky or crazy projects using a either higher signal strength omnidirectional antenna or a extremely directional antenna to point this very directionally at something like maybe a creepy Wi-Fi security camera.
Well, honestly, like it comes with
like disconnect.
Just the omnidirectional antenna is better than anything. Like just because like the D1 Mini is great for like tiny little IoT projects, but when you're trying to use it for Wi-Fi hacking and like stuff like that, like you get a little disappointed by the performance sometimes. Particularly like if you're in any kind of realistic scenario where you're not like physically standing right beside what you're hacking, right? So.
Wow. Okay, so I think that there's actually like not even a link here, but as you can see, if you go to hack.gay, then you will be redirected to a link which can take you all the way to buy the United States version of this. So here, if you go to the store, you can see that we have these wonderful Andromeda US versions, which are unique and special and different from the European ones, but only in that they don't have breakout pins. Other than that, they're exactly the same. So you can grab those here, or if you are in Europe, you can pick them up there. So just want to let you guys know where you can grab these. The other resource we're going to be using today is wiggle.net. So wiggle.net, Michael, how would you describe it?
It's a repository for Wi-Fi network locations.
Yeah, so
like geospatial locations of Wi-Fi networks. In fact, I believe we have a previous live stream focused entirely on Wiggle. So I'll try to link to that sometime after the live stream.
Yeah, so let's say that I wanted to know about the Wi-Fi in a little town called Rachel, Nevada. Michael, have you been to Rachel, Nevada?
Indeed, I have.
Yeah, so
I believe it became very popular a year or so ago.
Oh my
with
god,
the
yeah.
Naruto run.
Yeah, there was a meme that caused it to explode. So if I were to zoom in here, I would be able to actually see the names of the Romulan Central Data Access. Oh my gosh, I love that. The names of Wi-Fi networks that are here. And what does this mean? Well, it means that I can figure out the names of networks for buildings, for like businesses, all this stuff by just looking it up in this database. Because at some point, somebody with a cell phone, it was me, drove by here and recorded the network information and uploaded it, so it's now public. Hooray! So this is also, Rachel, Nevada is the closest town to Area 51 that's like legally allowed. And there was a giant craze where a bunch of people like went there in order to try to like run at Area 51. Of course, nobody actually did because they don't want to get shot. So just to be fair, we were going there for years before all that, because I mean, those people are so weird. We used to have every Thanksgiving there until everyone ruined it for us. So yes, we know a lot about the general area here, and I really wish we could go back. But unfortunately, it's quarantine time, so we can't. But here, if I wanted to, for example, see if somebody had been in this town, I could make a short list of every Wi-Fi network that had been recorded here. And then all I would really need to do is broadcast all of these. And if someone's phone were to start responding to it, I would know that they had probably been here. I can see also that this looks like the location that most of the war drive-in networks were caught. So I can see also people's phones. If I want to see where this bro has been, it looks like he uses his hotspot all the time. So I caught someone using their hotspot here. I could type in this information and find out all the other places that our friend Sean here had his iPhone's hotspot on, where somebody else was war driving and caught it. Now, I had a weird example where I was looking in like a cemetery and I just saw some lady's iPhone, and I took the MAC address and put it in, and I found like 7 other locations that this woman had been around the city where she had been recorded with her hotspot on, maybe on perpetually. But it was able to give me like a geo map of places she had basically been. So that's how we're going to take information we get over the air from Michael's phone and actually make it so we can visualize it and try to see where it's from. You getting nervous, Michael?
No, I have nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide. All right, that's what he says. Nothing to hide.
Unlike you.
We'll see. We'll see. I am gonna turn my phone's Wi-Fi off, though. That's for sure. There's just no reason, right? All right, off. Big off. Okay, cool. Cool. So I am now on my very, very clean desktop, which is how it is all the time. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a terminal window, and I'm actually gonna maximize it.
Yeah, and maybe make that a little bigger. Yeah.
I'm gonna type in Hunator. So the Hunator program.
Oh, that's a massive chicken.
It's a huge chicken. So the Hunator program, again, was written by our friend James, aka Howdy Burgers, and has so much potential. I'm so excited to work with him on even more developments of this incredibly exciting and cool program. So right now, it has scanned my computer and given me a bunch of options for which serial port to connect to. And that's really cool because usually this is an annoying process. But watch what happens if I plug it in. And I hope it works, because if not, then I'll be embarrassed.
Shame.
Plug your Deauther in. There we go. So it has successfully detected it and connected. If I type help, whoa.
You need a lot of help.
Yeah, it's given me a lot of help. So let's see. If I want to type help-s, it gives me the short version. So what this means is I've successfully connected to my Andromeda Deauther in this case. But if I wanted to take the time to like buy this like cheaper just D1 Mini, plug it in, and flash it.
Have a previous episode on that.
Yeah, we have a previous episode. It's just a much it's a much longer process, and there's much more like points in which you could get it very wrong. So we're going to be using this one today. Now, we ran into a little glitch here, and we're going to do this out of order from the way I was originally planning on doing it. First, what we're going to do is run a scan in order to get information about all the access points around us, and these results will allow us to fill in some of the blanks that we'll need in order to get the right information. And first, we need to know what channel the device that we're interested in is currently on, so we can kind of fine-tune our search and make sure that we're able to locate it on the network. So first, I'm going to just run a general scan, which is probably just going to look like a bunch of blurred stuff to you, because we're teaching you how to basically track down all of these clues on Wiggle Wi-Fi, so let's just not give you any ammunition. So, we trust you, but, you know. All right, so we're running a scan.
Trust but verify.
And this comes back with a list of all the access points that are nearby, as well as a basic list of the stations as well that are here and connected to those access points. Now, this is a little bit misleading, and I find that the results that come back are not a comprehensive list. And the reason for this is because by skipping around to all these different networks, it is missing tons of different access points, or sorry, tons of different stations that are just not broadcasting all the time or otherwise have been overlooked. So there's tons of different devices that are actually here, but we're only seeing one, and that's really not that helpful to us. So right now, I know that Michael is on the Starlink network, and that is on, as we can see here, channel number 6. So if I want to create a new command, I can do scan -ch6 for channel 6, and then -m, and we're going to do st. And what does that do based on our earlier help page?
So that's going to scan channel 6 for the... I don't remember what MST was.
So that's just saying that we want to look for stations this time. We don't really want to look at
monitor
access
for
points.
stations.
Yeah, and I'm not going to put in like a time constraint or anything. I'm just going to let it do the default. So if Michael is on that, then we should be able to hopefully detect his phone and maybe some more information about it. Okay, so this is a really promising lead. We are looking at probe requests, and what this is, I mean, for one, we can see that there's a lot more devices out there than we originally thought. There is a Dyson device. That's I think our roommate's vacuum or air purifier. And there's a TP-Link router or like a TP-Link extender. There's other stuff here that's of interest, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight the parts that we're not going to blur. So I can see that there's a probe request to a network that says, "This is Michael's phone _ look at me."
I remember you doing something like this before.
Interesting.
Mr. Kinsey.
Interesting. And then I also see so basically what I'm able to see here is, I'm going to try to highlight this in a way that makes some sort of sense, is right now I have a device of an unknown vendor, and I happen to know that Michael's phone is a newer Android phone, so it randomizes its MAC address, so I'm not going to be able to always detect the vendor successfully. So in this case, I don't know what vendor this phone is, but I can see its MAC address. I can see it's currently connected to the Starlink network. Of course, this part's going to be blurred, but that's the access point's MAC address. But over here, this part that's highlighted, we have 2 different networks that Michael's phone is calling out for. Now, this is because Michael's network has joined these networks in the past. And I know that "this is Michael's phone _ look at me" was me getting Michael to scan a QR code. And once he scanned the QR code, this was put into his phone. And basically his phone's calling out for this network all the time now. By the way, you should probably delete that. So what is this other network, though? This looks like a very interesting, very long network. So if we wanted to learn a little bit more about it, then maybe we could do that. Now, we could also verify that this is a network of interest. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to type help again. And whoa, we get tons of stuff, and now it's not blurred. So what we're going to look for is the beacon commands. Where are they?
So I can forget this is Michael's phone.
I mean, you should have forgot that a long time ago, but yes, you may forget that.
There's 2 of them.
I know. Yeah, it adds it twice for some reason. So I'm going to just type help-s to get the short version. And I can see that the beacon commands are right here. So if I want to create a beacon command, what is this going to do? Well, I'm going to basically test and see if Michael's phone really does want to connect to this network. So I know some information about the network, but I'm going to verify that his phone, in fact, has connected before by popping up a version of this network and seeing if his phone, is interested in it, if it finds it attractive. So we're going to type beacon, and we're going to type, let's see.
So the beacon command allows you to
SSID.
Arbitrarily pick any access point name?
Yes, it sure does. Why is this not pasting? Horrid. Okay, I think I have to type results. I'm so sorry, Michael. You'll have to do some more blurring. If I type results, it should give me the information that I wanted again.
And you'll see nothing.
You see nothing. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to type help again, and it's gone. All right, so beacon dash SSID. If this didn't copy, I'm going to freak out. Okay, there it is. So now this is the name of the network we're going to create. Oh, heck. I have to... All right, I'm gonna copy this, and I'm going to type help-h again. Help-s
so much
again.
copying.
Well, I just want to show off the other commands that we can add to this. So, no! I don't even know what that is. Well, that was weird. So, if I want to, let's see, actually take the next step and do monitoring here. So, let me just highlight this. So, this is like kind of cut off. Maybe if I make it bigger, smaller, bigger, bigger, smaller, bigger. Okay. I can do -auth. So what this will do is look for authentication attempts. And that means that if anybody attempts to connect to this network, it's going to tell me. And if I don't do this, then it won't. So it's something that you should make sure to do. So, all right, right now I've created an open network that has this
how do we know it's an open network?
That's the thing. It's probably not. So in order to make this look like an encrypted network, I have to do another argument. Here you can see enc-enc. And if I hadn't done this, it wouldn't have worked, and we would have been confused. But this is probably going to make it
Good
work.
thing I reminded you.
So again, like, I don't know the password to this network. I'm just making like a random like network with the same network name, and maybe it has the same password. His phone doesn't know until it tries to connect. So we're going to set ENC, and then encryption, we're going to set to WPA. I actually don't see the option. Where is it?
It's nestled somewhere. Isn't that long?
Yeah, there's so many different things. Do I seriously have to scroll up? Don't make stuff fun, please. Please. Okay. Encryption. So open or WPA2. I would have gotten in trouble because I didn't put the 2. All right. So now we've made a command that says beacon, SSID, this weirdo thing that Michael may or may not have connected to in the past. We're looking for authentication, so we want to know if someone tries to connect to it, and we're making the network look like it's WPA2. Let's run it. All right, so now we wait. Now, if Michael were to disconnect from the STARS network, then we won't have to deauth him. Now, if he didn't disconnect peacefully, then, you know, we could just, then we could also just target his phone and start trying to kick it off of the network. And it might be necessary for you to disconnect from a couple ones, but what we can do here is sequentially make it impossible for Michael to establish a normal network connection, and look at what happened. So on my screen, we can see that Michael's device took a pass at my network that I just created. It took a look, liked what it saw, and actually tried to connect. So these are authentications. So let me explain the difference between our first scan and the scan that we just did. The first scan that we did was looking for probe requests. So looking for his phone calling out to the universe for this network. And that lets us know that he's probably joined the network before. Now, we were able to then create a fake version of that network and look, his phone's still going wild, and prove that if in proximity, his phone will automatically connect to this network. And of course, we can encourage that behavior by kicking him off the network with the deauth command, which we're not going to do today, but that's also been part of the things we've taught with the Wi-Fi deauther. So we can see Michael's phone is going wild. It desperately wants to connect to this network. It thinks this network is its best friend. And we conceivably might even be able to get something like a handshake or a half handshake from Michael's phone and try to do something like with that in Wireshark. So the jig is up, Michael. We know you've been to Wi-Fi network 07B4075285009.
I plead the fifth.
Well,
that means nothing.
I'm just saying, Michael.
You have no evidence.
The evidence that you've connected to this network in the past is pretty irrefutable. Do you admit that your phone automatically will connect to this network?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very skeptical. It's it's inconclusive.
No, Michael. I think it's very conclusive. Do you admit that right now your phone is trying to connect to this network?
Pure speculation.
No, Michael. Look at the screen and tell me. What is this?
That's some numbers.
What does your phone say? Attempting to connect?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So we've established that Michael's phone is in fact trying to connect to this network. But let's see if we can run down the final lead and establish Michael's guilt just out in the open. So I'm going to stop this.
Maybe we'll establish your guilt, sir.
All right. I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out. So we can see that we've sent out 1,500 packets and we've gotten a bunch of responses back from our target device. So we know that this device will connect to the network if we created one with the exact same password. But we can't take the next step of taking over his data connection yet because there's some password here involved that we don't know. But that's not really the point of what we're doing today. We're just trying to find out where Michael's been so we can figure out what his weird behavior over the last couple weeks means. So, all right, we're going to go to, I think Firefox is what I'm using today. That's not Firefox. That is, though. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use this to try to figure out where Michael's been. And we're going to click on the advanced search. And this is where you need to have an account.
Yeah.
So if I were to do this and I wasn't signed in, then it would be more difficult.
But
so,
it's free to create an account.
It is. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's say that I'm just looking for a really generic SSID, Michael's net. I'm sorry, Michael, is this boring you?
Yeah. You offer up all of this evidence, but you show me nothing.
You seem very unconcerned. So if this had just been Michael's net, it could be any one of these networks anywhere. Like, where's this one? Like, probably somewhere, like, this is in Fort Collins. You know, like, I don't care about that.
Clearly, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. So this is not something that we care about. But we have a relatively high entropy network here where there's a lot of numbers and stuff. It looks pretty unique. So odds are this is a unique Wi-Fi network that only exists in maybe one or two places. So it doesn't give us enough information. It's not like, you know, like a drug dealer's Wi-Fi network or something that tells us exactly where it is just in the words, but it still could give us some information. So looking at the network search, there's a couple different things we can search for. We can look for addresses. We can look for the average location. So we can just give it coordinates and say plus or minus look inside this radius. And that's really, really useful if we're looking for, let's say, just inside a single city, a Wi-Fi network name. So if we don't want to get bogged down in all these other results, we can say, you know, Michael's net only in or around Fort Collins or something like that, and narrow it down so we don't see all these other results. So this database allows you to filter out bad results and otherwise like get more precise with what you're looking for. But what we're going to do today is take a look at the network characteristics. So we can take a look at last observed. So we can look through timeline and see like when networks were kind of added or when they changed. We can look at the BSSAD or MAC. So if we have an exact MAC address, then this will allow us to see where all the different places where that network has been, even if the network has changed its name. So let's say that you have someone who, let's say you have a router that's had a very long life. It's it's been around for a long time.
Moved around once or twice.
Exactly. And like it's been renamed multiple times. Well, you can literally watch the life of this router unfold as it moves like across the country and changes its name and whatever by looking at the MAC address and searching for that instead of the network name. So when we're talking about a network, there's two different searchable characteristics that are the primary things we'll be looking for here. One of them is the MAC address, and if we were looking for, you know, like Michael's phone's MAC address, we would only see it if it created like a wireless hotspot that had been recorded by a war driver that had the same MAC address, and none of that's guaranteed. His phone hopefully would put up a randomized MAC address when it creates an access point, but actually, you know, I'm not sure if it does. So you might actually be able to track Michael with that. Feel free to try. But just kidding, please don't. But I know for a fact that his phone creates a randomized MAC address when it connects to a network, so I can't track him between networks. So that is one thing that gives him a little bit more privacy here. So really what this is good for is network names that are extremely unique or maybe not in too many places, or MAC addresses to a device that maybe has changed its Wi-Fi network name many times. Now this could be a dash camera in a car that just has Wi-Fi on. This could be any number of IoT devices as well that create hotspots. All these things can be found on Wiggle Wi-Fi. So that's one thing that I think is really cool and interesting about this. But we're going to use the SSI network name exact match. And that's because we have a very exact thing. But we could also use a wildcard here and look for things that were like common. Maybe we thought this was a sequence, and we could run this so that we make the last number a wildcard. I don't know if that's even going to work. We query it, we see we get more results? Nothing. So yeah, we see no results from that. So it's a way for us to test out theories. And oh wait, wildcards are %sign. Okay, well maybe I should just read the instructions. Here we go. All right, so we have a result. So very suspicious, Michael. So then maybe I want to put more %signs. Is this a series? Are there
You
other
could
network
put like
names?
a % in front.
Hey, look at this. There are a series of these networks. Michael, are you part of some organization of some sort?
I claim no affiliation.
Okay, and of course these could just be randomly generated, but maybe this is a product that is, like all over the place, and when it starts up, it creates an automatic thing like this. So if I want to click on a map and see, oh, this is in Santa Monica, California. That's interesting. Click and I can get an even more interactive map. It's going to take me to the exact place. So where is this? Okay.
Looks like a bunch of buildings.
This is a bunch of buildings. If I zoom out, maybe
Inconclusive.
it'll give me more information, or maybe not. But this isn't, to be fair, this is not the network that Michael connected to. This is just a similar network. So this is just some place in Pasadena, not really sure where, or Santa Monica, not really sure where this is. So not enough information yet, but let's go ahead and go back to our search, and we're going to get more specific. So we expanded our results. We basically wanted to take one clue and see if maybe this was a range of devices. Maybe we can learn more, but let's go with the exact result here.
Yeah.
So if we do, I'm going to get rid of this.
I was going to say, in my experience as well, Wiggle has always worked a little better when it's a little more suburban, because when you do get in cities like that, it's so clustered, it's hard to tell what's what building.
Yeah, so, okay, we now have a single hit, meaning there is only one recorded location for this Wi-Fi network that Michael constantly, his phone is trying to connect to. So obviously he's been to this location and he's joined this Wi-Fi network. So Michael, let's see where you've been.
I haven't been anywhere.
Michael, Washington D.C. What could you?
I was going to ShmooCon. Of course.
Well, that sounds nice. Okay, well let's see
It's
where
a
Michael's been.
lovely hacker conference.
Okay, look at this. We have a hit on this is the location. It's right here. It's in the building.
What building? I see nothing.
Michael, this is the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive headquarters in Washington D.C. Why was your phone here, Michael?
Mr. Kinsey, do
Mike.
you have anything?
Michael,
Do you have?
why
any
was your
confessions?
phone in the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Explosive headquarters?
Well, you see, you failed in your electronic search to
Michael,
check me for a wiretap.
you are wasting so much taxpayer money. All right, so we've discovered Michael's secret. He's an undercover agent with the BATF. Now, this is not the first time this has happened, and again, I think this is a huge waste
I'm
of
a big old
taxpayer money.
snitch.
Yeah, but that's okay. We know Michael is a snitch now, so we can start feeding him misinformation. And really, that's what this kind of electronic warfare stuff is about. Always being on the cutting edge and just ahead of your enemy who's constantly mercilessly stalking you, like Michael. So thanks to our wonderful Andromeda Deauther, we were able to start sniffing the airwaves and detect that Michael's phone was desperately trying to connect back to his masters at the Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, Tobacco, and whatever else.
That just sounds like a good time.
So this has been a brief way that you can take advantage of some of these signals coming out of smartphones and other Wi-Fi devices to learn about where that device has been or that user of that device has been. Now, if this was a printer, then I would know that maybe the printer had previously been at the ATF headquarters. But since it's not a printer and it's Michael's phone, we just know that he's a spy.
Right. Well, you know, and the other thing is, in the real world situations, right? Like, this isn't actually that, like, outlandish. Like, you were alluding to, people's phones often try to generate a unique network name, so it's easy for you to figure out which one, but that also uses the same one, so you know you can track people pretty easily. Like the one I've always thought is the most powerful is the router MAC address, because when people buy, you know, like a $500 Wi-Fi router when they're upgrading to Wi-Fi 6, they're going to take that with them everywhere for like half a decade at least. So you can really track where a person lives, and then I feel like the phone one is pretty good for tracking people when they're traveling or going around for business, sort of. engagements.
Definitely. So our advice to you, if you were scared by this presentation, is delete the extra networks in your preferred network list, especially ones that might be sensitive. If you work for a sensitive agency like Michael, then you should probably make sure to delete these distinctive characteristic network names that can be easily looked up like this. In fact, I'm sure that if I were to look up some of these other locations, they would probably be federal law enforcement centers, maybe ATF centers across the United States, because this is probably some weird technology they're using that generates some hotspot. And my search on wiggle.net could lead me to other places that this agency is operating these Wi-Fi whatevers they are.
Yeah, and
So,
that's the sort of thing that would encourage me to recommend, like, periodically change your network names. I know it's annoying, but do it every kind of 6 months, especially on your phone or anything that you're taking out and about. And then also, if you're not ever going to a place again, like you're out traveling, just think about deleting that, because there are the beacon swarm attacks, which I believe we've covered on previous live streams, which would further reveal like all of the networks your phone would attempt to connect to, which can like give an even more detailed map of places you've been.
yes, definitely. So if you also want to follow along with this, you can pick up one of the extremely low-cost D1 mini boards and flash this yourself. A little bit more challenging, a little bit more work, and sometimes these aren't great quality.
Less performance.
But it will work. Yeah. Or you can go over to spacetoon.store or hackerinterchange.com or just hack.gay if you're in the United States, and pick up one of these great boards by Spacetoon. They are really awesome, and they allow you to get started with the sort of sniffing and even more, while being able to also support a great creator. So very awesome. And I think I'm taking the news pretty well. Michael, I'm sorry about having to report back about your investigation.
Well, you see, this wiretap that I've been wearing the entire time is what you should have been looking for.
See, I thought you just were really interested in audiobooks, but instead those headphones should have been a giveaway.
Yeah, no, I think something that would be really fun to try with this project is we were having trouble detecting devices because like it was hopping around to check channels. I know the Wi-Fi cactus was designed to get around that limitation by having a radio for each individual channel. Could you do something similar? Get it like a USB hub and plug 12 of these in, and then do all the channels simultaneously?
Yes, you could. With a little bit of scripting, you could.
That would be really cool.
So my suggestion would be, like, if there was a list of sensitive organization Wi-Fi network names, and you wanted to just create like a agency important guide detector, you could just be broadcasting lots and lots of these on every channel. And whenever somebody walked by, if their phone had connected before, they would at least probe the network and if not authenticate, they would still start reacting to it.
Is there any? Sorry.
Smartphones are constantly looking for new Wi-Fi networks to connect to, even if they already are connected to a network. So they don't stop scanning while they're in this mode, and that allows us to learn more information about a device even while it's connected to a Wi-Fi network.
Is there any practical limitation to like the number of SSIDs you could be pretending to be at once?
Yes. So on the Deauther, I believe it's like somewhere around like 65. But once you once you check out a standalone project called the Beacon Spammer.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull it up. So the Beacon Spammer creates, I think, almost like up to 100.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, go ahead and switch to my screen. So if you guys want to see a single purpose project that can be used to unmask devices around you and find out where they've connected before, this will create tons of different SSIDs and is a really great way to do that. I wish it would say exactly how many, but there's a lot. Trust me.
Because I do feel like you need to
100.
be thousands, though, to be really practical. I don't know.
I think it's really funny that the article I wrote on this is the first result ahead of Stefan's stuff. So I also wrote a null byte article on this before I started doing my research onto it. So what started as just creating like lots and lots of annoying networks ended up actually turning into something where you can unmask devices and find out which area they're from, like which schools they've been to, all that fun stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thanks for checking out our channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I feel like this actually might even someday become like an attack lab or something that we do more elaborately. So if you guys like this, we can take even more steps, like taking over Michael's data connection, being able to like learn more about his phone. like using some of the beacon swarming stuff to be able to identify an open network he's likely connected to in the past, and maybe doing something cute, like maybe like making Michael's results like load in Japanese or something. You know, all that stuff we can do if you guys are interested. So let us know if you like this. Make sure you like this on YouTube because we always check out what the most popular videos are. And also, if you like this content, you can check out some of the other Varonis content that's out there. Our sometimes co-host Killian is doing another great series on the Varonis brand channel, Threat Update, that goes over some of the cyber threats that our customers are dealing with. So if you want a great perspective on what the malware that real people are fighting against every day is like, it's a great way to learn about what's out there.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. We will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.